So we're gonna start round 1 with the magic ring. So this is how I usually like to start it, but you can look at other tutorials for how to do the magic ring. And then you're just gonna do 6 single crochets and then tighten the magic ring. So for the second row, we're gonna do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochet for every stitch. And I just like to put my stitch marker at the beginning of my first stitch, but after the second stitch. I don't know if that makes sense, but like it's easier to put your stitch marker after you've made 2 stitches than just making 1. For round 3, we're gonna do 1 increase and then 1 single crochet, and then repeat that 6 times until you get 18 stitches for your third row. So basically for each row we're adding 6 stitches. That's how we're gonna increase. And then now we're on to row 4. We're gonna do 1 increase and then 2 single crochets for the next stitches, and repeat that 6 times until you get 24. And for round 5, same, just follow 3 single crochets, 1 increase, and repeat 6 times until you get 30 stitches for round 5. For round 6, we're gonna do 2 single crochets, then an increase and another 2 single crochets, and repeat it 6 times to get 36 stitches. So this will be the biggest portion of our circle, essentially, for the head. Then after making 36 stitches, that will be the end of our round 6. So I just like to count my stitches that I have 36, because for round 7 until round 12 we're just gonna do 36 single crochets for that. So just make sure you have the right count, and then yeah, just do that until you reach round 12. Okay, are you guys still here? So after round 12, you have to make sure that your beginning stitch is inside. And then here, I'm just counting that I have 12 rows. Then from here on, we're gonna start decreasing our circle. So for round 13, you start with 1 decrease, and then followed by 4 single crochets. 2, 3, 4. And then just repeat that 6 times. So decrease and 4 single crochets until we end up with 30 stitches. For round 14, we're gonna start with 3 single crochets, then a decrease, and repeat it 6 times to get 24 stitches. For round 15, we're gonna do the decrease first, and then 2 single crochets, and repeat 6 times for 18 stitches. So the reason we're not always starting with the decrease or the single crochets is that you don't see the diagonal line after you make a circle. So that's what I used to do before, but I've seen it in other crochet tutorials and from some patterns on Instagram that this is the technique so that it looks kind of more natural. Then after round 15, we're ready for stuffing. So back when I started doing amigurumi, I didn't believe it when they said that if you think you have enough stuffing, it's not enough, so you should add more. And they were right. So what I like to do is I just like to take little chunks, then put it inside my crochet, then squish it a little bit, and then there's gonna be more space for sure because it's gonna compress. Then when your thing retains its shape after squishing, you're probably okay now. So now we're just gonna do the last row for this. So we start with a single crochet and decrease and repeat this 6 times. And I forgot to put my stitch marker, but it's easy to count up to 12, so just count it up to 12. And then after that, you're gonna chain 1, and that's gonna finish the head. By the way, at this point, you can start the squish test again, and if you need to add more stuffing, just do it now. Then I'm just gonna cut my yarn with excess for sewing later, and we're done with the head. Yes! Now for the body. Now, if you have the real dolls, it has this straight body, but I like to do the sitting position, which is same to the 40cm dolls. So I'm gonna teach you the 2 ways, but for now, I'm gonna do the sitting position because I think it's much cuter, right? So same as the head, we start with the magic ring and then do 6 single crochets. Then we close the loop. And for round 2, same, we're gonna do 6 increases, so 2 single crochets per chain. And basically we're doing the same thing as the head, but smaller. For round 3, we're gonna do an increase and then a single crochet, and then repeat that 6 times to get 18 stitches for round 3. So still the same as the head. Then for round 4 to 6, we're just gonna do 18 single crochets to build up the small circle for the body. So just do that for the next 3 rows. At this point, I like to count my rows again, so I have 6. And then for the last row of the body, we're gonna do 1 decrease, 1 single crochet, and then do it 6 times to get 12. So this will line up with the opening of the head that we finished earlier. So make sure that you have 12 so that it's easy to sew later. At the end of the body, you're just gonna chain 1 and leave a long tail for sewing again. Then the beginning thread should be inside, and then we're gonna stuff it again, but do not overfill it this time. Just because I think the body is a lot straighter and not as round as the head should be. Now go ahead and make the 2 arms, and I think there should be a tail, but I always forget to do the tail and I'm too lazy. So we start again with the magic ring with 6 single crochets, same as the head and the body. Then for round 2, do 6 single crochets.
I go again. 3, 4, 5.
And then you're gonna chain 1 and then leave a bit of an end, which will be used as your stuffing. One end will be for stuffing, which you'll just sew inside. And then the other one will be for sewing so that you can attach it to the body later. This is how I insert the yarn inside the arms and legs because they're quite small, so just find your own technique, and I hope this helps. And then make 2 for the arms. Next, we're gonna do the legs. So same as before, we start with a magic circle, then make 6 single crochets, tighten it, and then for the next step, just continue to do 10 single crochets. No increases or decreases, just make it in the circle. So that's like 6 plus 4 more. And then right after that, just chain 1, leave a bit of excess, cut it off. Then same as before, the starting yarn, you're just gonna sew it inside, or not sew it, just pull it through inside, which will act as your stuffing. And then make 2. So this will be slightly bigger than the arms. Now for the ears, we're gonna start with a magic circle again and do 8 single crochets. And then after that, you're gonna tighten your circle. And then from rows 2 to 6, you're just gonna continue making 8 single crochets per row. And that would be the height of your ears. After making 6 rows, just chain 1 and then make a little bit of excess and cut it off. And from the starting yarn, you're just gonna make it as your stuffing again. And then gonna make 2 ears, and now it's assembly time. So I like to start, of course, with the head and the body. And since we ended with 12 chains for each, you're just gonna connect the top and the bottom chain for the 12 chains. I keep saying chains, but like, yeah, that's how I do it. And I don't know if there's a better way to sew, but this is how I usually connect all my pieces, just regular stitching, no extra thingies. And then just tie it off. And then before I sew in any of the ends, I like to connect all the parts. Next, you're gonna connect the 2 arms. And then for the 2 legs, I'm just gonna put it a bit in the front, not at the exact middle, so that it looks like it's in a sitting position, if that's how you like it too. Then before I attach the ears, I just like to fluff it a bit to get the shape that I want. Then I attach it 2 to 3 spaces from the middle, and just make sure that it's kind of balanced. And then for embroidery, I'm so sorry, I have no real tutorial for this. This is more like eyeballing and just making sure that I look at the reference photo from time to time. So all these parts are just 2 thick eyebrows, and then 1 thin line for your eyes, and then a triangle, inverted triangle for the mouth, And just try to make like a circle or an oblong shape for the two blushes. And then the last part would be the embroidery for the ears, which is just pink, and I just sew it like straight down to get that pink ear part. And that is my first tutorial for this SHINee series. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for my future tutorials, since I know this one is very confusing, but I hope you like it. Thank you, bye!